Hi, Commander Kumar the Far here, and you're listening to Lave Radio. Up next is a track that I wrote based on a true story. It's called Pirates Took My Spaceship. Now, if you want to listen to more stuff that I've written, you can find that at soundcloud.com/KUMARTHEFFAR-1. Oh crap, the back!
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio. Twos and ones.
Get ready. Lave Radio.
Super cruiser scene. my dreams as I travel to that trinary star. Can I leave my seat, take a stroll and stretch my feet, though I promise not to go too far. I could climb onto a thought god base, or maybe dangle from a planetary hat. Take a stairway up to heaven, jumping ship to ship. I'm sure we'll make it there together. Yeah, we'll always pull together. Space madness ain't this mind. How many years ago you can tell from all the babble, but we're all mad, it seems together. Instance dreams keep reminding me of screens where I found another binary Earth-like pair. I need to leave this seat all before it starts to eat me. Hyper-addicted by my bobblehead, this Braben talking. What did he say to me? Or was it one of those brain trees? I think I heard a bird uncle speak. I'm in too deep. Rex has got me craving tinfoil hats. I'm just degrading. Space madness ain't this mind. How many years ago you can tell from all the babble, but we're all mad, it seems together. Instance versatility is key. So to do this, you'll need a ship that can accommodate any job. At Falcon DeLacy, we have you covered with the Anaconda. Since 2856, this ship has been the ultimate craft for multi-purpose space operations, allowing commanders to fly further, battle harder, and haul more. So look no further than Falcon DeLacy and the true commander's starship, the Anaconda. Satisfaction guaranteed.
to the bubble. 55,000 stars with 19,000 inhabited systems, settlements, outposts, stations, and bases. Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? Well, we can take you there. If you're too poor to own a spaceship, Apex Interstellar. What are you waiting for? No, is this thing finished? Get out of my way!
Galnet News Digest, 9th of June 3308. Wurtnitsyid. WRT NS YDHT. In this week's news, like so many other commanders who took part in the Golconda appeal for tritium, Galnet News Digest has finally been able to afford its first ever fleet carrier. We picked it up at Hutton Orbital, just behind the free Anaconda concession stand, and we asked celebrity trucker Cecil B. Trumpington to say a few words and dedicate the carrier in the traditional way. It didn't quite go to plan.
Testing. 1, 2, 5. I say, is this thing on? Hello? Oh my. Has anyone looked down? It's an awfully long way down from here. I feel giddy. Right, someone point me in the right direction. What are we doing today?
You're here to help us launch our new fleet carrier.
Your fleet carrier, eh? Giant flying bar with somewhere nice for a nice sit down whenever there's a light show. Capital. It's okay. I think I've got some words. It is my very great pleasure to be invited to the naming of this vessel. She's mighty fine, and I'm sure that everyone here from the Fuel Rats will make great use of her.
Cecil, that was last year. We're not the Fuel Rats.
What do you mean, this isn't a Fuel Rats carrier? What on earth is it then? And why does it smell of spilled tritium?
This is our one for Galnet News Digest.
Galnet News Digest? Who are they?
That's us.
Just the two of you? Wouldn't you like something nice, like a beluga? Just the right size for two of you? Your private swimming pool, lovely views, that sort of thing?
No. This is our carrier, and Beetlejude bought it for the broadcast. It has our studio, all of our ships, the library of video footage.
Don't forget, all those compromising pictures of Hudson.
Your private collection of naughty photographs. Yes. Anyway, this is our carrier.
Oh, sorry about that. By the way, Beetlejude, I'm Cecil. Nice to meet you. Hey, don't suppose you fancy a drink in the bar later, do you?
It's okay, Cecil. We're buying the drinks for everyone.
Capital. Hang on, this made me awfully thirsty. Need something to wet my whistle. I'm a little parched. Ah, that's better. So, where were we? On behalf of Alvin Deefer, the oh-so-fluffy leader of the Hutton Orbital Truckers, who I understand had a very important job of towing this behemoth all the way here. Did you know how many Type 9s it takes to drag one of these things quite this far?
Will you please get on with it?
Oh, sorry. Anyway, on behalf of his fluffiness and in enormous gratitude to the rather excellent Commander Beetlejude, cheers, who paid for this whole thing, and the after party. There is an after party, isn't there?
Yes.
Anyway, it's my very great pleasure here to be here at the naming of this fine vessel. May all who serve on her have a great time standing around in corridors, looking important and remembering not to vomit every time it jumps. I named this vessel the Galnet News Digest. Hang on. The Galnet News Digest? I mean, really? It didn't take much thought, did it?
What's wrong with that?
Well, it could have been something grand like the Galnet Excelsior, or practical like the Outside Broadcast Carrier, or after my mother. She was called Doreen, by the way. Lovely lady.
No, it's called the Galnet News Digest.
Oh well, Galnet News Digest it is then. Yeah, that's it, we're done. Time for a drink. Someone untie this bottle of Centauri Megagen from the rope for me.
You're supposed to throw it at the bow of the carrier. It smashes. Ceremonial.
What? Smash it? You've gone mad. It is premium gin, that is. I can't do it, I won't. Just give me the scissors and I'll cut a tape or something in the rope.
For heaven's sake, man, just throw the bottle.
Look, I'll mix you a lovely cocktail.
Give it here.
You horrible person. That poor bottle of gin. I need a hug.
Suffer from problems with incontinence? If you do, then our pee-pads are for you! Yes, Commander, your very own pee-pad while you're out there exploring in the universe. Then you can go whenever you feel the need. No need for a toilet pesking back there and then having to wonder, how do they deal with the poop? No, you just go in the pad and discard it at your local station. Let them worry about the physics of disposing of sewage in space. That's not your problem, Commander.
Legacy on Lave Radio, broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy.
Lave Radio. It's even louder than me. Hey, wait a minute. That can't be right.
You're listening to Lave Radio, and this is the Dex Legacy. Previously on the Dex Legacy. While Nathaniel Dex and Dr. Osa Srivastava were launching their experimental bomb from Xenos, an event that would become known as the Rhone Missile Disaster, Varian, Isra and Ren were battling enemies of the Oscilian government in the Dominos Mountains. Designed by Dr. Devek Jha to be highly effective soldiers, the three were making light work of their enemy, until the enemy decided to target them. The rebels created nets with an electrical current and managed to catch Isra, paralyzing her and disabling the Dex Industries tracking chip lodged in her spine. A hunt began, and Ren followed the rebels back to their mountain hideout. He arrived in time to save her life, but too late to save her from harm. However, with no lasting physical damage done, Isra was fitted with a new tracking chip and sent straight back into action. Legacy, Episode 3, The Firm, starring Chris Gregory, Warren Graham, Annika Cordes, Louis Watson, Kamara Elliott, Kelsey Griffin, Charlie Richards, and me, Emily Inkpen.
Auto, what's the latest?
Breaking news from Zart, capital city of Xenos. The famously nationalistic administration led by Minister Agwe has fallen. After 15 years of unrivaled popularity, his party suffered a sharp decline in support after what is now being called the Rhone missile disaster. The newly appointed Premier, Minister Rosette, has promised to lead Xenos into a new age of accountability. In her first act, she called upon the International Confederation of World Leaders to hold self-proclaimed president of the disputed Dex Island state, Nathaniel Dex, to account for his part in the Rhone missile disaster. It is as yet unclear whether the International Confederation will intervene in this matter.
Auto, stop.
Ren, Isra, sorry I'm late. Our father called.
He's not our father, Varian.
He's our adopted father, Isra.
What did he want?
Timings. I said I'd catch up with you two and get back to him with an estimate. Ren, I take it you've got a battle plan?
I do. Here's the map.
Activating map.
And you think that's where our remaining Domino's rebels will be?
Pax did some recon last night. We know that's where they are.
Now, we need to get them out of the caves and into this area, so we can surround them and force a surrender. We've already taken and closed off any of the caves they could use to escape, and they know we're coming. Hopefully, this won't take long.
They can take as long as they like.
I can take the center ground, Ren. You and Isra go in through these tunnels to cut off any escape, and herd them to me.
No, Varian, you're taking the tunnels. Me and Isra will be out in the open, out front.
Are you sure?
Yes, go in through here and here.
I'll place Pax up top. She can pick off any who chance to climb and press down through the tunnels from above.
And we'll be waiting for them in the field.
I can't wait.
Good, I will.
I'll go and talk to Pax.
She's going to destroy them.
Yup.
You killed the ones who took her prisoner, Ren. She doesn't have to.
So?
So you think it's okay if she goes out and kills all the remains of the Dominosi people?
I hope she does.
Seriously?
Yes, Varian, seriously. I hope she kills as many as it takes for her to be okay again.
And how many will that be?
I don't know, and I don't care.
They are people, Ren. They are people with families
and every one of them would do it again if they could, and you know it. They took me first. They were going to kill me, Varian. They'd have killed her too, eventually. She deserves to make them pay, and they deserve what's coming to them.
You're losing sight of what's important, of what we are.
And what's that?
We are the ones who've been doing most of the killing in this conflict, not them. They were trying to get back at us.
Are you saying she deserved it?
No, of course not.
We're still people, Varian. We count as people too.
I know that.
And you can't talk. You killed 20 of them when they tried to take you 2 days ago.
So?
You did that because you knew what happened to me and to Isra, and you were afraid.
I wasn't afraid.
We're all fighters, Varian. We all know what it takes to get out of a situation like that. It's a strength that comes from our fight or flight instincts, and it's triggered by fear. You were afraid because you knew that what was done to Isra and what was done to me was going to happen to you. They won't stop just because we killed the ones who took us. They'll try harder. So we end it. And I hope she kills them all.
She's barely spoken to me since it happened. How's she been?
How do you think?
I don't know, Ren, but I'm guessing not good.
It's been bad, but we're getting through it.
We?
Yes, Varian, we. A lot hinges on this battle and getting out of these damn mountains. It's no good telling her she's safe when we're only one rebel raid away from being right back in those caves all over again. I need to give her every chance to fight and kill her way through this. It's what she needs. I think, I don't know, I'm making it up as I go, but that's why I need you to go in those tunnels. Ever since I was captured, I keep getting flashbacks. They happen every time I go underground.
You kept that quiet?
Yeah, well, they only last a second, but they're distracting and can make a difference in a fight. Thing is, if I get them, Isra, well, she's bound to as well now. So, I want to keep her out in the open, where she can wreak as much havoc as she likes without the risk of triggering any kind of breakdown. But I can't trust myself to be clear-headed at the moment either, and we have to end this today. Given all that, I thought you'd be the strongest to send in there.
It's alright, Ren. I've got this. We've got this.
Thanks.
You're really looking after her.
As much as I can. Yes.
I get it. I think I'm starting to at least.
Incoming call. Osgilian Chancellery. Osgil.
Good afternoon, Chancellor. Yes, I've just received confirmation from Varian. The Dominossi have surrendered. There was a little bloodshed at the end. They needed persuading, but it was nothing more than our ground troops could handle. The Dex Island forces will leave Osgilian territory as soon as yours are in place to handle terms between Osgil and the Dominossi people. No, they're not rebels anymore. Quite. Is there anything more Dex Industries can do for you? I see. I think we can help with that, yes. I'll send a representative to your Chancellery with a few prototypes. No, thank you, Chancellor.
Call terminated.
Am I understanding correctly, Nathaniel? Do the Osgilian Chancellors want more from us?
Yes, Tristan. It appears they're satisfied with how this conflict has been resolved, and now they want to look into our automatic defence systems.
Well, that's our main line of business, so no difficulty there. And Varian, Isra and Ren will be coming home.
Yes, they'll be here. Although I'm expecting to deploy them again within a few months. North Jakra has voiced interest.
That is interesting. Were you going to do anything to mark their return?
No. Why would I?
It's a significant homecoming.
Explain.
This was their first deployment, and they did well, leading troops and representing the company's interests abroad. Is it your intention to make them commanders in our military?
You know it is, Tristan, and so do they. This was their first field test.
And they passed?
Yes.
So, Nathaniel, this is an opportunity for us to make their place in Dex Industries and the Dex military clear.
There's no point. Their place is clear, as long as they behave.
Yes, but do they know that?
Tristan, as my adopted children, it goes without saying.
Not necessarily. I believe it would be wise to mark the occasion, make them feel recognised and appreciated, put on a show and help them to understand their responsibilities going forward.
You think they need reminding of their responsibilities?
Nathaniel, I manage the greatest spy network this world has ever been unaware of. My operatives are active throughout the world, and if I've learned anything, it's that one must take every possible opportunity to remind people of their responsibilities. They need to be made aware that they're not the only Dex subjects, but Dex leaders, who may end up shaping the future of our company. This event could be used to separate them further from the other soldiers of their generation. The ones you didn't adopt, but kept as an extended part of Devik's work.
Those children mean nothing to me, Tristan. There were 21. I chose 3. The rest are... spares.
Yes, but so far Varian, Isra and Ren have been more like distant siblings to the others of their generation. Now we need them to take command of the rest. We have 10 surviving spares, as you call them. I understand Devik's been working on them.
Devik's been giving them watered-down treatments developed off the back of his experiments with Varian, Isra and Ren. These 10 spares could be useful, but they're weak by comparison.
True, but stronger than any other soldiers in the world.
You foresee a time when the Dex military offering will be large enough to require tiers of leadership. Generals and colonels and so on, as our ancestors called them.
I do.
Well, that would please Devek. And it's true, Varian, Isra and Ren's success in the mountains has already sparked interest. And the more they achieve, the higher the demand for ground troops will be. We'll need to satisfy that demand somehow.
But Varian, Isra and Ren must lead.
Fine, Tristan. Go ahead and organise an event. Invite some media. We're going to the effort, we might as well make the most of it.
Now approaching Dex Island. Estimated arrival time, 5 minutes.
Almost home. Isra?
Yes, Varian, almost home. And the first opportunity we get, I'm going to the beach.
Seriously? You're not done with sand?
It's the sea I want. The ocean. I want water. Lots of water. I need to wash the desert off me.
The beach it is then. You'll have to go without me though. I have a date tonight.
Who's the latest?
No idea yet, but I left a couple behind and I'm sure one of them will be up for welcoming me back.
You're despicable.
I'm not sorry. Ren, are you alright?
Yes, sorry, Varian. Just happy to be home. And I never thought I'd feel that way. Wait, what's going on?
What is it?
The whole military base is formed up in front of the palace. All the soldiers and everyone.
Initiating landing protocols.
Why are we landing here on the lawns in front of everybody?
Okay, quick. You two, do up your jackets, sort out your hair.
What is all this?
No idea. But I think we should look as presentable as we can.
Thank the gods they sent clean uniforms in the transport.
I'm guessing that wasn't an accident.
Touchdown. You have arrived at the primary residence of Nathaniel Dex, founder of Dex Industries and president of Dex Island. Welcome home, Varian Dex, Isra Dex, and Ren Dex.
How thoughtful. A personalised message.
How thoughtful.
I thought we'd just get tipped out of the base, come back to our rooms here and eat, crash in front of a broadcast drama for a few hours.
Well, Varian, it seems like we're not going to be doing that for a while.
I don't like this.
Neither do I, Isra, but...
Door opening. Smile, there are reporters waiting.
Well, this just keeps getting better.
You two, shut up.
I am not smiling, Varian.
I don't care. Let's just get back to the palace and work out what's going on.
Look, Nathaniel's waiting for us.
We're going to look straight ahead and walk. We're going to look like we are expecting this.
Varian, how do you sound so confident?
I stopped thinking and start doing.
Well, that explains so much.
Shut up, Ren. Here we go.
I think we should stop at the bottom of the steps and wait.
Okay.
Welcome home, Varian, Isra and Ren, from the Oscillian region of Domon, where you successfully served your country on foreign ground for the first time. During your deployment, you faced new threats and challenges, and overcame the odds by emerging victorious from deep within enemy territory. You are a product of which Dex Industries can be very proud. A living, breathing embodiment of our values, our technology, and a shining example of just how extraordinary our species can be when properly adapted and enhanced. Your achievement during these months reached far beyond your extraordinary physical capabilities. The demands of leadership can test the most resilient individual, and even under difficult circumstances, your dedication to one another, as well as your troops, gave Dex Island the tactical advantage in every battle. In war, we learn where our true priorities lie, and you have proven yours are exactly where they ought to be. I could not be more proud. In light of all you have achieved, I am naming you, Varian, Isra and Ren, commanders of the Dex army.
What? I just wanted to eat and go to bed.
From now on, you will set the standard for all Dex soldiers to come. You will raise our troops, and you will lead them into war. You will be the driving force behind the most advanced military offering this world has ever seen. You left Dex Island as prototypes. You have returned as my greatest accomplishment. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my children.
Scan complete. Result logged. Standing by.
Do you think he meant any of that?
Which bit, Ren? Us being prototypes or us being his children? Or the bit about us making him proud?
D. All of the above.
Commencing scan.
He's good at making speeches, Ren. Don't you remember when he made the big public noise about our treatments being totally humane? He sounded convincing then too, didn't he?
The next round hurt so much I was screaming for a month. Yes, I remember.
And here we are again, right back in the lab.
Scan complete. Result logged. Standing by.
My beautiful children, you're home at last.
Hello, Osa.
Oh, Ren, you have grown again since you left, for sure. Look at you. And you have some new scars to add to your collection, I see. Very nice, too. Who won that competition?
Depends. Are we talking about the scars you can see, or the scars you can't?
Oh. Now, isn't that the question?
Varian won. Show her the one in your back, Varian. Turn around.
Well, I'd be surprised if you didn't win with that beauty. It cuts across your spine, though. Am I going to be designing replacement vertebra for you 3? You'll be made of metal at this rate.
Go ahead, Osa, why not? Nothing else about us is natural.
That's not true. Your internal organs, your hearts and your minds. Do not forget that. Your flesh and blood still, if you forget you can die, you will not live for long, Hello, Devik.
Scans complete and results logged.
All healthy, I hope.
Yes, you're all fit and well. Nathaniel tells me there's another mission on the horizon for you all. But he also tells me there's time for another round of treatments before you leave.
What? But we passed the test. We led the fight in Dominar. We were everything you designed us to be.
Isra, you've performed exquisitely. You always do. But research continues, and so do my improvements. There's more to be done in terms of stabilising the changes that have been made, and...
You were right, Varian. We are still prototypes.
We're all prototypes, Ren. I test myself and improve and test myself and improve all the time. I will never consider myself finished. And as far as I'm concerned, you three will never be finished either.
Ren!
How long do we have until the next treatments begin?
I would get started immediately. But your father wants you to settle into your new roles first. He's asked for 1 week. But really, you're soldiers and you've been leading the troops all this time anyway, so I can't see what's changed. But what do I know?
Devek, Nathaniel has made his intentions clear. Varian Isra Ren, you do as you're told, and so do we.
I don't want any more. I'm fine. I'm better than fine. We're all better than anyone else in the world.
For now, Ran, maybe. But things change. As long as I live, there's enhancements to be made. Now, don't give me the sad faces. You knew this would happen. You knew the treatments wouldn't stop. And I think you like being better than everyone else, really. Bit of discomfort here and there is worth it, isn't it? To be faster, stronger, to bleed less when you're hurt? When you were little, one of your treatments triggered ocular albinism and you were nearly blind for a year, remember? But now you all have those beautiful blue eyes. And with the mechanical irises and engineered retinas Osa designed for you, you can see further and clearer than anyone else. The sad times lead to happier times in the end. They always do. And this time will be no different. What do we say?
1 week.
Good boy, Varian. Yes, 1 week. All right, you can go. It's good to have you home.
Okay. Hey, slow down a minute.
Why?
Because... Are you alright?
Why wouldn't I be alright?
Well, there's a fairly obvious reason, don't you think?
I told you, I'm fine.
I don't want to hurt you.
You couldn't if you tried.
Not that kind of hurt. And, for the record, I could, but not that kind of hurt. We've barely talked about it, and last time we did this, you ended up in a pretty bad way.
What is there to talk about? I killed 1,000 of them, so they took me. You killed them. So now it's over.
It's not, though, is it?
Well, not when you keep bringing it up.
Isra, we're not moving past it, if you're not even looking at it.
What do you want from me?
Everything. You know that.
Well, I can't, Ren. I can't give you everything right now. I have to keep something for myself. Or what's left? You want to take everything from me.
I want to share everything with you.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
I can't share everything. How can I? You'll never understand.
But I do. To a point. I was their prisoner for 2 days. You were strung up and tortured. I was tied to a chair and tortured.
It's different.
I know. But it's not so different.
I'm not looking at it because it doesn't make sense. They did that to me. And how did that happen? I killed more of them than anyone. I am the best out there and it doesn't make sense. You know, I keep thinking about it. It happened, but I can't believe it happened. It replays in my head, and it's like it's not real. But I feel it. I know it's real. Everyone knows.
Who?
Everyone in the base knows what happened. I saw it in their eyes when we were in the camp at Domina. I see what they're thinking about. They think I'm weak.
Trust me, no one thinks you're weak.
Everyone thinks I'm weak. If a bunch of rebels could do that to me, why can't anyone try it? I know they're thinking it.
Isra, no one's thinking that.
How do you know? Have you asked them?
Of course I haven't.
I'll kill them if they try.
I'll kill them if they try.
You might not be there.
I'll always be there. Or try to be.
It's not your fault, Ren.
It is my fault. If I'd run faster, if I'd have got there...
You ran as fast as you could. You know it, I know it. Those nets... I should have found a way out myself. I hate that you had to rescue me. Do you know how sick that makes me feel?
You were paralysed. You couldn't even move.
I...
Sometimes we have to rely on each other.
Yeah, I suppose. Varian and me, we rescued you. How are your hands?
They hurt in the mornings. And at the end of the day for about an hour after training.
You never told me they still hurt.
Yes, well, you've had your own stuff going on.
You just killed the mood, making me talk about my stuff because I'm not talking about it enough. And now it turns out you've not been talking about your stuff either.
This isn't about me.
Yes, it is. It's about you wanting me to talk about my stuff. But I don't want to talk about it. I can't talk about it.
Well, I don't want to talk about my stuff either.
Can we just not talk about it then?
Sure.
Thank the gods.
You can talk about it though. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. We might have a few things to work out here.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Why are you bothering? Why not just find someone else? Someone less screwed up?
Because we're both screwed up. And I'm not going anywhere.
Is this the new treatment, Devek?
No. Their next one has been ready for a year. This one is still in the early stages. What is it, Osa?
Why are you waiting a week before starting your treatments? What did Nathaniel say, exactly?
He said the children need to understand their new responsibilities before they're taken out of commission for any length of time. Nathaniel wants them to assert their new authority over their fellow soldiers. New responsibilities? They're experiments, first and foremost. They're my life's work. He adopted them for me.
I know this, Devek. But Nathaniel changes his mind when he likes. It sounds like you're getting an army to play with. You should be happy about that. At least.
I'm happy to have the army. I just don't want those three leading it.
What else would they do?
They would stay here, in the lab, where I can keep an eye on them. I would use them to perfect my treatments, then roll out universally adapted versions of those treatments to the rest. As specimens, those three are far too valuable to risk. They are priceless. Why are you asking?
Tristan has something on his mind, and a week is long enough for him to undermine your plans.
My plans have been undermined so often, I'm working in a sinkhole.
As for the children, you may consider them priceless, but Nathaniel attaches a price to everything. Your experiments are expensive, and he wants to see some return on his investment. They are your life's work, but your life's work belongs to him. You know what would happen to us if we no longer had his protection. We are his subjects. And we serve.
And we serve.
In episode 3 of The Dex Legacy, you heard Chris Gregory as Nathaniel Dex, Warren Graham as Tristan Crail, Annika Cordes as Dr. Osa Srivastava, Louis Watson as Dr. Devik Shah, Kamara Elliott as Varian Dex, Kelsey Griffin as Isra Dex, Charlie Richards as Ren Dex, and Emily Inkpen as Auto, with music by Dr. Alan Stroud. The Dex Legacy is written by me, Emily Inkpen, and produced by Alternative Stories. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. It really does help. If you would like to support The Dex Legacy, you can at ko-fi.com/The Dex Legacy audio drama. If you're enjoying The Dex Legacy on Lave Radio, please visit our website at www.thedexlegacy.com, where you can find out all about our cast, buy merch, support the show, and access bonus materials.
Commanders, when the boost activates in station and the insurance just don't cut it, makes you want to scream, Lave Radio presents Crying at the Sky, a track that carries all the emotion of your epic stuff up. Hear more like it at 12 Strings Inc. on SoundCloud. This is Commander Strings, signing off.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
And the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from a current Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 394 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix of Fire, otherwise known as Colin Ford. I'm the Chief Archivist of Lave Station, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our, as usual, Head of Health and Safety, Commander Ed Levice, otherwise known as Ben Moss-Woodward.
Why is Psychic's one so much bigger than mine?
Well, I mean, that I'm sure every man feels that way at some point.
Right. Okay, this is off to a good start. That was the voice of our staff liaison officer, Commander Psychic.
Hi.
Hello. And unfortunately, Commander Shan is not going to be with us tonight. Our thoughts are with him as he's going through quite a traumatic family time at the moment. So hopefully he'll be back with us when this unpleasantness has passed. And to fill in for this, we have our... I don't know what your title should be. Chief Chauffeur?
I thought Alec, he was a stunt driver or something, wasn't he?
Chauffeur, okay. Lave Radio Chauffeur, Commander Alec Turner.
Good evening, everyone. At least Ben's got one, I was going to say. But Ben's might not be as big as Psychic's, but at least he's got one.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I will take that.
It's not the size that matters, it's what you do with it that counts,
and,
right?
And mine does taste very nice.
So does mine.
Yours is a bit fizzier.
Always. Mine's a little bit more exciting. What can I say?
Oh, I don't think yours is more exciting. I would far prefer mine. Mine's just it's small and dark and strong. It's based off something that's got eight legs.
Cracking start, innit? Cracking.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
We're being asked the question: do you realise this is going out? Yes. This is on your radio right now. That's
you are listening to this, and you can't unhear it.
So, if you wish, you can join us live. Although, my God, with such stimulating conversation, we are hanging out in game. I know that Chris Mark 4 is trying to get back to Lave. I'm trying to get back to Lave. We're an open. We'll see you there. If you can't get to us in game, you can also join the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat, or go straight to twitch.tv/laveradio, or look us up on YouTube, or look us up on Facebook and Twitter. We do not have Twitch drops. We'll just point that out. This is a Twitch drop free zone. So let's quickly go around the crew, see how they're up, how they've been doing this week. So we'll start with Bad News Ben.
So yeah, basically no change in my situation apart from I am getting increasingly more frustrated with scam computers from Bolton in the UK.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they're the guys who I basically bought 99% of my components for my PC from. And they're the guys who said, well, if you return your motherboard to us, we'll have somebody have a look at it, and then we'll get back to you within 48 hours. And if there's a smeg up, we'll replace it. It's all under warranty, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this sounds great. That's fine. Apart from the fact it's been 3 weeks now, and for any update, I've had to chase them.
Oh dear.
And the whole reason I bought things from Scan in the past is because they're meant to have a very, very good customer service and very good repair things.
Mm-hmm.
I do not consider having to chase up to find out that they've even received my motherboard, and it's not sitting in some warehouse in the middle of who knows where,
Surely.
or delivered to the wrong address, seeing as DPD can't actually pick up from the right address. I assume certain updates to actually happen, and I assume if they say we're going to get back to you within 48 hours, for them to get back to me within 48 hours, and not for me to have to chase them up, let alone chase them up about it, chasing up about it, chasing up. And I'm still waiting for them to actually get back to me, which will hopefully happen tomorrow.
Excellent.
So if anybody from Scan's listening, pull your fucking socks up! But apart from that, I love you guys.
You've been told?
Yeah.
Been told a lot. Right, what else? Psychit, how's your week been?
It's been full of game showcases and PR packages and really cool stuff that deliveries and things that actually work within the industry. It was also National Gin Day on Saturday, and I wasn't aware of it on Saturday, but I'm making up for it in the subsequent days.
For you, it's National Gin Week.
Yeah, well, let's make an event of it. But yeah, there's been so many cool reveals and new things and new games and stuff that have come out over like Summer Games Fest and all of those mad things that it's a good time to be a fan of space games. It really is. In game, I've just been doing a lot of missions and
No. When you say missions, shouldn't it begin with another M word?
Well, you can't have witnesses, Colin.
You've been doing just a lot of murders.
I mean, you can't have witnesses. So there's been a lot of murders interspersed with fancy new Jurassic Park keyboards and Starfield merch. You know, quick brag. But yeah, it's been a really fun week. But lots of cool space games and stuff news that I'm very excited about.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about some of that stuff in the other news section right at the very end, because I know that I saw a few things and I went, "Oh, that looks a bit good." But yeah, we'll talk about it later. Right, Commander Alec Turner, what have you been up to since the last time we've seen you, apart from the main thing?
Yeah, apart from the main thing, nothing. No, what have I done? On our roof, so it was a nice £120 repair job to have someone come round and put the tile back, and it very rapidly turned into a £2,500 let's take the whole roof off, because there's no batons underneath it and all your ridge tiles are falling off. So
yeah, it's funny how that happens. Oh, your pointing's a bit off, and then before you know it, your entire roof needs to be replaced.
Yeah, I absolutely hate dealing with tradesmen, partly because you just don't know if they're telling you the truth or not. So they sort of say this needs changing and it's going to cost £2,000, and you basically have to bend over and go, okay, I have no option but to trust you now. You've taken my roof off. Here, have the contents of my wallet.
Yeah, it is a horrible thing to happen. I'm sorry.
I mean,
to say.
to be fair, I did send them up and ask them to take photos, and it did look like there was lots of things wrong, and it does look nice now. And they were very quick. They did it all in a day. Although I have to say, £2,500 for a day's work. I wish I was in that line of work myself. It seems very profitable.
Yeah. I think they probably jump at it when you get it. I mean, we had the same problem when we had to cut one of our trees down. We had to ask one guy to have a look at taking a couple of branches off, and then went, actually, that tree's about to go. You better take it down.
It's the least fun amount of money I've ever spent, I think. I did buy a new TV the week before. That was much more fun.
Well, at least you'll be able to watch something decent.
Yeah.
At least you've got a roof over your head now.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like my old TV was, it was like over 15 years old. So you get a new TV, and then you immediately have to rewatch every single brilliant film that you can think of. You know, it's like, what should I watch first?
Yeah, I always end up reverting back to RoboCop for some reason.
Yeah.
Although for some reason that's now been replaced by Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd seems to be or just Dredd actually. That seems to have replaced RoboCop as my need for ultra-violent shoot 'em up type films. Got no idea why.
Funny enough, we did all we've been working through all the Jurassic movies because I went to see Jurassic Dominion today. It's jolly good. I thought.
Oh right, okay. Well, every review I've seen so far has slated it, but
okay. Let me qualify that. If you like dinosaur movies, which basically means they're going to be full of dinosaurs and they're going to be full of jeopardy and a nonsense plot, then it delivers in spades. I mean, it's got all the jeopardies you could want. It's got dinosaurs in tunnels, dinosaurs in the water, burning dinosaurs falling out of the sky. It's got every dinosaur. So what's not to like?
I thought, oh yeah, I still want to see it. And then they sort of said to me, dinosaurs with lasers, and I thought, that's like Dr. Evil, with sharks with lasers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit nonsense, but I don't know. I quite enjoyed it.
Right.
Alec, can I ask you a quick question, actually, about Jurassic World?
Go on.
Everybody from the original movies seems to be back, but I want to know...
yeah, it's got that as well. It's got the reunion of the old and the new, which is quite fun.
Are Lexi and Tim back? Because let's face it, they are the MVP from JW1. Or Jurassic Park 1, I should say.
No, I don't think they are, actually.
The kids aren't back. We don't know more I Know Unix and things.
No. There is a sort of Nedry 2, although it's only a bit part, but you immediately think...
I have to admit, Dennis Nedry, despite being a twat, was my hero.
Yeah.
He is such a role model for any developer.
Yeah, absolutely. Who can forget the little animated
And anything that gets Samuel L. Jackson to swear at you, it's sort of, if you've written a computer program that makes Samuel L. Jackson swear at you, then respect.
Not that it takes lots to make Samuel L. Jackson swear.
Yeah. That's my week, basically. And as we'll come on to later, I've been driving around a planet and up a big mountain as well, but we'll touch on that later.
Yeah, looking forward to that, actually. Let's have a look at what I've been doing. I've been getting on my my power play commander up to scratch, helping out the Emperor, of course. I haven't done any exploration this time, but however, I have been driving around the Thargoid Rex down in Merope and helping out Professor Palin a lot, which we'll probably touch on in the news. So thanks to everybody who was keeping me company while I was doing that. It was... I think one thing in Odyssey, I've noticed that the Thargoids have got a new jump animation, which I thought was quite interesting. So when they jump away, it looks as if they actually rip open the fabric of time, space-time, and jump through this hole, and it just swallows it up again. It's different to how it was before. I thought it was a really cool effect. But so that's That's been my week, apart from the fact that we've now got to deal with rats near where the rabbit is, which is unpleasant. The passport office actually gave us my son's passport. Yay! It's a miracle. So yeah, that's me, I'm afraid. So I guess moving on from there, we have the development news about what's been happening this week. Well, it's actually been quite it's actually been quite a packed one, especially on Friday. We had obviously the release on the 7th for update 12, and then we got a whole load of bug reports which were quite serious. There was the not being able to land anacondas. That wasn't fun. We also had what other ones were there?
Well, there's everyone's hair falling off.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. How can you miss that?
Who can forget that?
Who could forget the fact that, as Sally would say, Arth had something to do with it? Did he?
He was inflicting his follicle challenges upon the rest of the galaxy. I believe that was something on the lines of what she said. NB, Sally's back.
Exactly. That's next on the list. But yeah, even Arth just sort of gave, I on Twitter, gave Sally what can only be described as the Paddington hard stare.
Is anyone else? I'm always constantly amazed by how intertangled bits of Elite Dangerous code seems to be. I mean, what on earth did they touch that made everyone's eyebrows fall off? You couldn't make it up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because there was that, and there was the fact that all the portraits all disappeared from the mission boards. It looked as though everybody had been moved an entire frame to the right. You know, when you've gone and selected the wrong bit on your photographs.
And then when they fixed the hair, then when you typed in, when you were typing in the galaxy map like a HIP system, HIP, it brought up the pause menu. So how is that related to where the hair is placed?
I know that one was bananas. They were up till 10 o'clock on Friday night to release a hot patch, and that was the 10th of June, where that was fixed. So for the weekend, at least, we've had update 12.1 with reasonably stable, I must admit. I haven't had a single crash at all, touch wood. And the most pleasant thing about this is that my frame rate has stayed up at 55 to its maximum of 60 everywhere. So I've been to places where the frame rate would absolutely crash, and nothing, down to about 5 or 6 frames, 5 or 6 frames, and now it's spot on, silky smooth, and that's still while I'm streaming, because normally that would kill it as well. Psychic.
Yeah, good for you. It's great. I'm so pleased for you. That must be great. Yesterday I had, I think, 4 crashes during the space of my stream. So there were four crashes throughout the stream, and bless, I woke up this morning to having Sally in my DMs. It was a beautiful moment. Just saying, did you log it? Did you do the log thing every time? Did you send a report? Because we'll tap into that and try and figure out what it was. Knock on wood, haven't had it today. I am having frame rate issues in places that I wasn't having the frame rate issues before.
Oh.
So, like, I know people were having, I know, like, the birds said that they were really struggling on landing on planets entirely, but I hadn't really noticed a huge amount of that. I've noticed it super tank when I come out of the lift at the platform before I get into my ship, and it drops both my in-game FPS and my OBS drops down to, I've seen it hit like 20 frames per second. on that it wasn't doing before. So that I'm concerned about. That's not where it's been crashing though. Crashing is when it gets to a settlement. So I don't know, and it's not just the covert mission things. If it was a covert mission things, it was like, okay, well, that's something we're already aware of. But it was just like any settlement not any settlement, but random settlements that had missions. If I landed at there, it would do suddenly everything's gone quiet and then it crashes kind of thing. So with a proper, it's encountered an error, do you want to send the report and all of that nonsense. But it didn't do that today. So what changed overnight? No one's got a clue.
No, that is the problem with this thing. Sometimes it's how it talks to the server, and if the server's not playing ball, that's it. You're screwed. The one question I do have to ask: there is this existing issue where the game will crash if you do a covert mission? Is that still happening at the moment?
Well, I've done covert missions, so I assume that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, because there was an issue where people were trying to steal things from settlements, and as soon as they tried to steal something from a settlement, bang, crashed it.
That was definitely the case on Friday, for sure. That might have been something when they were saying that when they put in the patch notes saying that had been fixed.
Yeah.
That's kind of stopped for me, and it just became random on the Monday. But
right.
Today it's been fine.
Fingers crossed.
Question mark.
Okay, well, just keep the fingers crossed for the moment. Ben.
Yeah, I wish I'd been having random crashes to desktop and, maybe I'm dropping out or crashing when I can't go and do things. I'm not even able to play the bloody game.
Yeah, well, that's not really the game's fault, though.
Yeah, still, I want to moan about it.
I think
It's like we've been watching the Grand Tour. I've been catching up with the Grand Tour with my son, and we just got past the episode where he crashed that. Richard Hammond crashed that fantastic electric car, the one that burnt for 5 days after he crashed it.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, it's kind of like complaining, I can't drive anymore because I've got no car.
Yeah, and? All I'm hearing is whine, whine, moan, whine, whine. And I can't even play the fucking thing.
Yeah, well, you know...
If not whining, Ben, what's that you just did?
At least we've got 5 frames per second. Ben hasn't got any. He hasn't had any frames for weeks.
Why, your computer though did it? I bet you it was something like Roblox or something. I bet you that did it.
Being honest, the last game I played on it was a 2012 game, I think. When did GTA come out? GTA 5. That was about 2012, isn't it?
I don't know, like 60,000 years ago.
It's quite a while ago, so that's the most recent game that I played on it. And I don't know.
Oh dear.
I'm not bitter, I promise.
You're not bitter at all, are you? No. It was the Discovery Scanner, which turned up on the 13th of June. Just incidentally, is anybody finding that Monday the 13th is a lot worse than Friday the 13th? Just off the top of my head, I mean...
Of course it is, it's a Monday. Jeez. Yeah, every Monday is inherently worse than any Friday.
Very true. There they went over the latest stuff they've got for Update 12. They've announced that at 4 o'clock this Thursday there will be a Frameships Live, including Twitch drops. Everybody enjoy your Twitch drops. There's an announcement about the Eldritch Gate expedition and a fantastic image of Asp in front of things from Commander Beetlejude. And of course, there's the High Wake. The High Wake doing basically what Arthur does best. I think it's forever now going to be known as Arthur's eyebrows, isn't it? Got a bad case of Arthur's eyebrows.
That might just be in your head, Colin.
He's never going to come on this show again, is he? Ah, dear. Anyway, just quickly get the show notes back up because they've just crashed. Moving on from that, we've got the 14th of June today. Well, there was a news article about FDev, a trading update with its annual revenue growth on the London Stock Exchange today. Now, there's been a lot of figures which it makes interesting reading, shall we say. First point is second half and strong second half and record annual revenue. So apparently they've had 26% growth this year at FDev. Record revenue of 114 million, which is an increase of 26%. The Jurassic World 2 Evolution base game sales exceeded 1.3 million units. Now, that was interesting because they said that game didn't actually meet its expectations, which was a bit of a shock. Although, apparently, because it's the Jurassic World film has now finally been released, that's begun to pick up. Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate, that's performing ahead of expectations, and for financial year 2022, it looks like they've made a cash profit in line with expectations, which, yeah. And of course, they made the announcement about the F1 Manager Simulator, which is coming out in June, or is that? No, it's August, and the Jurassic World Evolution Dominion expansion, which is what's hit number one in the Steams at the moment.
Well, it came out today, so I would expect it to.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the general Frontier news, but as far as Elite Dangerous is concerned, well, bit of a mixed bag, really. They've said, as previously reported, following the launch of a major Odyssey expansion over a year ago, Elite Dangerous revenue fell below their original expectations, and they are focusing on supporting and growing the player community and will build on the narrative aspects of Elite Dangerous during financial year 2023. And also that due to a lower than expected engagement with Elite Dangerous Odyssey and the decision to cancel the console development of this major expansion. Now, everyone put on your jargon bingo cards out here for this one. The board has prudently decided to fully immortalize the Elite Dangerous Odyssey capitalized intangible asset as of the 31st of May 2022.
It's amortize, not immortalize. You know,
well,
not being made immortal or even live forever.
We wish it would.
It will. That's in her eternal glory and things like that.
Yeah, I think they're using really long words to confuse me. So basically, from this, it looks like they've. I had to look up these words on Google to try and get an idea about this. Yeah, it's basically a financial trick that they're using to kind of spread the cost of the development of Elite Odyssey, and it does give us an indication that Odyssey cost at least £7 million to develop, at least, which is quite a.
I don't think that's a lot actually for a game of this scale.
I agree.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish I had £7 million, but I suspect, in terms of development and all that other stuff, I don't think I think 7 million is lowballing it. And I mean, I know you've done some research, but from what I understand, basically what that means is, somewhere along the lines, Frontier took some kind of bank thingy-bobber against prospective Elite Dangerous sales, and the Elite Dangerous Odyssey sales, I should say, and then sort of, they went off and, if we go off and sort of say we've got 7 million of that now, then we can does some fancy tax jiggery pokery. But then we have to repay it over the next so however many years as another kind of financial tax jiggery pokery. But then because things didn't go according to certain financial jiggery pokeries, they then decided, you know what, we'll just actually cancel all that, and we've cancelled the amortized bit or whatever the hell that means.
So yeah, effectively,
I don't quite understand it. It's weird financial stuff as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think that it is financial stuff that you can use to basically offset against tax and things like that. So yeah, so that's where we are with Elite Dangerous. I did notice that there's an awful lot of speculation on the forums that there's still people hoping for things like ship interiors this year and things like that. And I think this kind of says no. All we're getting is basically story and nothing at the scale that people want, I'm afraid to say.
I don't necessarily think that people want like interiors. I feel like we're going to get some huge big bits of information that are going to lead into some massive changes to the way that we play on foot, akin to what happened back along when people got into hyper addicted by their first Thargoid, akin to that. But they're not going to share. They shared in that statement like massive narrative things that they're working on to increase the Elite Dangerous player base. That's what I read through that, like working on like expanding that narrative. That all of that is like they're not going to say there's going to be like brand new game mechanics or anything like that, but there's going to be brand new game mechanics and stuff like that. I'm still hopeful for huge gameplay changes, just not ship interiors.
Yeah, I mean, when you actually compare the 7 million plus that it cost to put Odyssey in, compared to other space games, that's a drop in the ocean, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't disagree.
When you compare it to other games, it's a drop in the ocean. There's a lot of money gets thrown. A lot of money gets thrown at video games because it's a big business. I mean, it's not like a little tiny indie game title. Frontier isn't a little indie company.
No, they're not. They're definitely not anymore. So
exactly.
Yeah, they have said that they begin financial year 23 in excellent shape. The portfolio continues to thrive. Elite Dangerous, Jurassic World, and Planet Zoo are all set to benefit from new DLC during financial year 23. I'm assuming that that's all the stuff that we've got going forward, yeah, that's the results from Frontier. To be honest, pretty much what I expected. They never actually. You kind of get a gist of where Elite Dangerous is in the priority of Frontier when it comes to this kind of thing. So. I mean, I'm just glad that we're continuing to get development on this. So, Ben.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think, as Elite Dangerous fans, we have to be glad that Frontier is doing very well.
True.
That's Elite Dangerous has been and remains David Braben's baby, and so I suspect. Even if Elite Dangerous didn't make them a profit, just because David Braben loves it so much, he'd continue developing it. So, as long as Frontier exists, I think it'll remain his love child. But also, as you were saying, you can't read into financial statements game development news, basically.
No.
And I know obviously we have to, and everybody has to, look for tea leaves wherever we can find them. But also, other than say taking that Frontier have money, you can't really say much else.
Well, as long as Frontiers stays profitable, as long as the game makes the money, I think development will continue with Elite. It's just that sometimes, I guess, everybody wishes they would. Well, after the content blackout or the communication blackout at the beginning of the year, I think that it shook a lot of people's confidence. But I think they're beginning to get that back now with these live streams, thankfully.
We'll see what first season's like.
Well, so far
we've had 2 for 2. Can we make it 3 for 3?
Let's hope so. Right, shall we go on to the in-game events? Right, the 8th of June, the Alliance Sirius Pact enters an approval stage. Now, this is, I completely forgot this was happening in the background because there's so much going on. This is Sirius taking on the defense of, on behalf of the Alliance, which it seems to be a straightforward, about a 50-50 split of whether or not the Alliance is going to employ Sirius as their main anti-Thargoid defense organization. We'll have to wait and see. It could be a prime bit of a prime bit of conflict coming. Yeah, like that. The Alliance, as sponsored by Evil.corp. Yeah. Professor Palin on the 9th of June announced that a new Thargoid research project has started. It's basically gets probes, resin, and Thargoidy things like that, take them to his base, and you will need to have the corrosive resistance cargo pods, cargo racks, in order to do this, mostly because yes, it'll eat your ship otherwise. This has meant that I've only done about 2 or 3 trips, and the most they can carry at any one time is 4 tons, so you won't see me breaking the record.
The top 10 commanders, according to Inara, the top commander has done that's ridiculous, 4,480. It's the top 10 are 1,911 to 4,480. It's past tier 5. It's doing well, but that's a lot.
In my cargo, in my poor little Asp Explorer, I'd have to do 1,000 runs. There's not enough hours in the day. Oh man! I mean, fair play to them. I mean, that is a phenomenal amount. But one of these days is. Oh, go on, Ben.
Are they not able to basically bite the bullets and get there bloody quickly without having their cargo holds implode? That's what I was assuming they were doing.
And they might be, or they could be just loading up their fleet carrier, jumping the fleet carrier, and jumping it off again.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem to affect fleet carriers. Wouldn't it be funny if you could lose your fleet carrier to...
Oh, that would be absolutely hilarious if the fleet carrier got taken over.
I know.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that so much.
Yeah, pass that on to evilideas@frontier.com.
Or a.tolme@frontier.co.uk.
Yes. That would... it'd be like the... What was it? There's the unknown artifacts, the UA bombing that you used to do on stations. I'd love it if they'd actually put that in, but we all know that there'd be a lot of angry fleet carrier commanders. On other news, on the 9th of June, the Golconda received its vital supplies. It now has enough tritium probably to send it to the Andromeda galaxy and back 26 times. I think that's what Galnet News said it was going to be. So, yeah, they're not going to need any refueling anytime soon. In fact, actually, haven't they given it more tritium than there is actually space on the carrier itself?
It's a TARDIS.
Obviously, yeah.
Actually, a TARDIS, it would have to be. It's ridiculous.
Its fuel tanks are bigger on the inside.
So, yeah. Now, the Psychic, you were really excited about this last one. And so was I when you told me. I couldn't believe it. On the 10th of June, we found out who shopped Salvation. Who was it, like it?
It was fucking D2, wasn't it? We still don't know who that is, but we know that it was D2. D2 remembers.
Yeah. Project Seraph, which excuse me. Project Seraph, which, if people remember, was when they tried to put human beings into Thargoid scouts and tried to interface them. Yes, that was the only test subject who has survived has pointed the finger at whose salvation was as an act of revenge for all the pain that she went through. Yeah, nice twist that, I thought. Alec?
Yeah, I like it too. What I like about this is like with D2 is sort of coming out of the woodwork as like the sort of the good guy, actually, because we all know deep in our hearts that Salvation's the bad guy, right?
Oh yeah,
So
he got the Alexandria exploded.
exactly. So what I like about this is it kind of makes it easier to imagine how the story ends up with us flying Thargoid ships. Like if D2's on the good side, then maybe D2 will have a method of mobilizing, Pilots Federation members by somehow getting them to fly Thargoid ships. I don't know. That's my little glimmer of hope I see in this story.
I really like that. I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen. Well, we thought we saw Thargoid hybrid ships before, didn't we? With the ship that was escaping the.
Oh, at Palin's place.
Palin's place, yeah, and we've never seen that again since. But then again, that was an interceptor. The Project Seraph was people being interfaced with scouts, so it was the wrong ship type. Psychic.
I tell you, another thing that we've seen recently that we hadn't seen for years and years before: dredgers. They're bringing everything out of the woodwork, so don't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, there's the dredger that left the Kumo crew because basically they were at war with them. There's the dredger that's turned up and fixed the Galconda. Those are two new dredgers, aren't they? I mean, there's still the university dredger that's out there gone missing. So yeah, so that's 3 dredgers that we know of. Psychic?
Wild. Sorry, I'm just getting really excited again. I got excited because I saw Cyberdummy say in chat that the other detail that was definitely confirmed was that they were integrated into scout vessels, and I was rereading the Galnet news article again because it makes my heart happy that this story it's got me. It's got me gripped. It really has.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn, but it's got me gripped.
Go on, Ben. You got a question?
Do you think this will actually give us playable Thargoid vessels in game at some point in the nearish future?
Well, if they do, then it means that Elite Dangerous has been a retelling of what happened in Frontier First Encounters. Because
from a certain point of view,
yeah,
I would,
and yeah, it could be.
I would add to that with how long in the not too distant future, because I think we'll get Thargs on foot before we get Tharg ships.
Yeah, I mean we've got. Oh, go on, Ben.
Yeah, and we've got evidence of Thargoid human hybrids.
Yeah.
And not to use Babylon 5 as an example or anything like that, but I wouldn't say no to a Warlock class equivalent ship in Elite Dangerous. Or that same idea.
Don't you mean a kind of battle crab? Because basically
no, because you had the battle crabs.
Yeah. Where they did
they went off and basically they plugged the humans into the battle crab, and it drove them a bit doolally, but it worked.
You can get a queen for battle crabs. I'm so sorry.
But then you had the human hybrid Warlock class destroyers, that were up against Sheridan's forces at the end of season 4, which were human ships that just made everybody's skin crawl.
Are you suffering from battle crabs? We advise White Star Cream. Gets rid of a battle crab after 3 shots.
I think it took about 5 white stars, but yes, that did work.
Just a pea-sized amount. Into the infected area.
You remember the it was like, some weird hybrid of the Earth Alliance destroyers.
Yeah.
That then had spiky bits on them, basically.
Yeah, they taken human ships and added shadow technology to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the kind of thing that. Yeah, because that's the kind of.
I thought it was the Warlock class. Sorry, Shan's just behind the scenes saying it's the Omega class destroyer.
No, what happened? Oh, good grief! Right, apologies to everybody. We're going a little bit off tangent here, especially if you're a Battlestar. Sorry, a Babylon 5 fan. We had the Omega class destroyers, which was as bits with the spinny bits.
Yes.
Yeah, they managed to integrate that with shadow technology towards the end of the Earth Alliance Civil War. That were the more advanced Alliance cruisers. However, they did develop the Warlock cruiser later, which is the one you're thinking of, and that was full of shadow technology, Vorlon technology, Minbari technology.
That was everybody, right?
That was everybody, and you didn't want to mess with those ships at all.
No.
So, yes, back to Elite Dangerous. I'm so sorry, Psychic. I would recommend that after you finally get around to watching Battlestar Galactica, Babylon 5 will be next on the list.
I believe it's available on Amazon Prime.
I have time to devote to series of shows. Are you kidding me?
Oh, and are you watching The Boys too?
No, I watched that vicariously through Little Big Ian. Because you just happen to catch a little bit of The Boys out of the corner of your eye and you can't look away.
You can't unsee it.
Amazing.
I creased myself at the season 2, episode 1 of The Boys. It's so wrong, but my God, it laughed.
Do you mean season 3,
season
episode
3?
1?
Yeah,
where they had to make that was an actual real set that he was inside.
Oh Jesus!
But they had to make it folded because you cannot show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Good. So we're on the same page. Excellent.
Yes. That's the one.
Watch The Boys. It is fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Right. So you're now saying that we need a Magna Pants advert and a Battle Crabs cream advert.
Yes, absolutely, we do.
Right. Okay, I'll just add it to the list.
Just combine them.
Have you got a problem with Battle Crabs in your Magna Pants? Have White Star cream. That'll sort you out. Oh dear, this is. Oh. I was going to say that's a runner, but then someone said, oh, you better watch out for a runner in your Magna Pants last time, and I just thought, oh no. Moving on, because it is that time of the week again.
Score alert!
Right, well, welcome back. Now, this week, we have everybody's favourite ship, it seems, the Python. The Python shear line 1 to 6, which is actually quite a few different colours. These are new, aren't they? Because I thought I'd seen the red ones before, but is that just me?
Hard to tell. They look a little bit similar. The red one looks similar.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
What I think's weird about these is it's like, it's one color on top, one color on bottom, which is kind of weird. So you got like, you got a white with a blue stripe and a gold stripe inside the blue stripe with a red bottom.
So it looks like the white star liner, and you got a red underneath.
Yeah.
I mean,
I quite like number 6, which is like a black border around the outside with a goldy, orangey sort of highlight stripe.
That's not.
That doesn't do it for you.
No, the underneath just looks jobby colour.
Yeah, jobby colour. You're right.
Although not as jobby coloured as number 3.
Number 3. Oh my god.
I mean, I get them. I totally understand them. I think they're kind of different to other things that we have, as in with the like the 2-tone colours and the stuff. And I haven't seen one of the new Rosa vultures. Is it a vulture? Whatever it is that comes down with the flashy lights and stuff. But do they have a different colour underneath and another colour on top?
Oh, actually, this is quite. Shan just pointed this out in the chat, by the way. This seems to be the first one where they've had these kind of dual designs with a colour on the top and colour on the bottom. I haven't seen that before. Can you recall them having that before? No. Okay.
No, please wait while we warm up the gerbils.
No, I don't. I honestly don't know. I don't.
They mention it. Not sure.
Yeah. Okay, Alec, you had...
I was just going to say, I was just a sort of question for the crew, I suppose, on paint jobs. The only problem I have with paint jobs, so like the Python is still my home in game, I suppose, is my original Python. It's the ship I always go back to.
Right.
And the trouble with new paint jobs is that a great many of my ships, I suppose I have a sort of almost like a sort of history or a lore in mind. So my Python is yellow. It's always been yellow, and it would repainting it would be like painting the Millennium Falcon pink. You just wouldn't do it. It is the color it is. So I sort of struggle slightly with paint jobs in that I tend to have the paint job I want on all my ships, and much as I love some of the new paint jobs, the thought of changing the character of my much loved ships is I don't know. Does anyone else have that?
Well, I know one thing for sure, that I would never have one of the old ships in the colour of yellow, because basically it all looks like slices of cheese.
Quite nice, my yellow Python. You'll have to take my word for it.
Python would look like basically a slice of gorgonzola all ready to go. Maybe that's what they need. They need cheese-themed. That'd keep Commander Chick happy, wouldn't it? Cheese-themed skins. Oh, no, I shouldn't. No. Oh,
I don't
no.
know, Colin.
Ben,
You just have to make that brief.
Don't.
What?
Don't go there, Ben. I know what you're thinking.
I was actually just going to agree with Alec that I'm kind of with you there, Alec. That my ships are my ships, and a part of my ships is the paint job that I have for them.
Yeah.
The only ships that I'll actively change, I guess, are things like if I've got a little sidewinder that I'm using for just pottering around, then I might change it depending on what I'm doing with it, or I'll maybe get changed for a specific event. But apart from that, it's my ship skin's my ship skin.
Yeah, it's part of the character of the ship.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I must admit, I know where you're coming from, because the Asp Explorer I've got for some reason, I've got it in kind of Red Dwarf red. That kind of industrial dark red that you've got on Red Dwarf. And for some reason, that just seems to fit my my Asp Explorer in my head. Put that colour on any of the other ships, just doesn't work. It's like it.
Well, as you well know, I do have a penchant for a particular colour scheme. I know this is going to come as a shock to a lot of people, but I'm a big fan of both pink and purple. I know. I'm glad everyone was sat down when I told you that, because that could have been shocking to some. But as part of like getting a new ship and engineering a new ship and making that all a thing, part of that process and finishing that ship off is giving it its identity. So like I finished the the most recent ship that I engineered to the full was my racing Anaconda. Not got Anaconda. How very dare you? My racing Corvette. I'm never going to live that down. I've had a gin. The racing Corvette. And as part of finishing that, I put the racing paint job on it, on the Corvette. And I'm never going to take that off. They're kind of like paint jobs for ships, I feel, are very one and done. With the bobbleheads and stuff like that are incredibly interchangeable for like seasons and like different seasons, special events, also like novelty outfits. I know it's gimmicky and I know it looks silly, but it's something that people would want to buy. Do you know what I mean? Well, like some people would want to buy it. It doesn't suit everybody, and I appreciate that, but there's some people who want to dress up like a pumpkin and fart about in places because it's funny and it adds to it's gimmicky and it's a bit of a laugh and it is cheesy as hell, but not wrong with that. And that's probably where they can make that is where, in my opinion, Frontier should focus a little bit harder to make those extra bits of money. Look for special events like Pride, for example, and build things around it.
Oh man, sorry, Ben just typed in a dad joke and it is kind of floored me. I do agree with you, by the way, Psyche. It's just I got distracted by dad jokes. Anyway, well, we'll move on from the pythons. Oh yeah, we're now showing Alec Turner's yellow python on the screen. I think it's called the call-out charge, isn't it?
It is indeed.
It looks like a big yellow. Yeah, it.
I
it looks
really
like a big
like
yellow
that.
tuning fork.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a duck beak ship kit on it.
That's the Python's the only ship that I've got that's got a ship kit on it as well.
Let's see, the Cobra, the Sidewinder, the good grief, Imperial Clipper. Yeah, I've got ship kits for those at least. Plenty of ship kits. The one that I haven't got yet. Oh, and of course the Crate Mark II and the Crate Phantom have all got ship kits for me. So oh my goodness, I'm just realizing how much I have spent on ship kit.
Yeah, same here. I've got Raider on the Asp actually, which looks quite cool. You know, all the sort of metal spikes, and there's a big cage around the cockpit.
I've got a ship kit for the T10. I am that person that got the triple bloomin' tail fin.
You've got spoilers on you, spoilers.
I've got spoilers on my spoilers.
Oh my god.
Oh dear. I look like one of those tripped out from modded cars from the Cars movie with that glow in the dark.
No one can say that you don't support this game, Colin.
Yeah. Oh dear. I hate to think how much I put into playing this game. I'm sure there are people who have actually put out more, but you know. Right, I think we'll take a bit of a break and come back with our main discussion for the evening.
Sweet dreams, little ones. You rest up in your hangar bay, because in the morning you'll wake up to smell fresh laser fire, because you're in a Federal Corvette. And there's one thing that a core dynamic ship does well, and that's kill ships. Big ships, small ships, wings of ships. We even have a go at booping asteroids. Enemy shields down! Enemy dead! There's no further targets, Commander! That's all you'll ever have to say in a Federal Corvette. Core dynamics! Let's not talk about skimmers.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
Oh, boy, space, it's cold in here. That commander has a cheek sitting up in his cosy and warm cockpit while we haul radioactives around his cargo bay.
Oh, is it cold? I hadn't noticed.
Oh, that's right. Why, you're not even shivering.
Maybe it's because I picked up this North Coast cargo bay sweater. It keeps me warm and stylish.
Say, that is a nice jumper.
It's made from the finest Verix wool and handcrafted by novitiates in the underground monasteries of Van Maanen's Star.
Wow. Where can I get one?
New North Coast cargo bay sweaters. Be the envy of your friends. Wow every lady from here to the Empire. Be warm and toasty even on the 10th planet of a dying star. Now on sale at Spark and Mensa.
Better now?
Better? Why, I feel so warm I'll probably never catch man flu again.
Spark and Mensa, because nothing says sexy like a neck-high jumper.
I spend so much time in my Imperial Trader, I find it really hard to meet people.
I mean, when do you get the time to go to bars when you're taking on courier jobs for the military?
But with VenusDating.com, it was so simple. I just put in my personal details and they found me my perfect match.
I really thought it would be difficult, but Venus Dating made it so simple. With so much in common.
We both like movies, walking along the beach at sunset,
browsing Imperial shipyards.
And of course, since we started dating, we've discovered that we both really love shooting Thargoids. Let your voyage begin with VenusDating.com for every first encounter.
The Dex Legacy on Lave Radio, broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy.
And welcome back. Now, the main reason that we have the legend that is Alec Turner on our show is because you've gone and done one of your mental activities, haven't you?
I object to that.
Really? I thought you endorsed it.
Gone and done one of my very sensible activities.
Kindly explain to the listeners what madness you decided to do.
Okay, well, it's not my first offence. I've driven around another planet, so this is a complete circumnavigation of a planet, quite a small planet, but nevertheless, this is actually my fifth. So I've done 4 previous planetary circumnavigations. This is in the SRV. I should add, we're not just cheating and flying. Well, we sort of are actually,
technically, yeah.
It's not exactly 6 wheels on the ground.
No.
So yeah, but my previous 4 have all been in Horizons, spread out over the sort of 6, 7, 8 years I've been playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's reasonably well known that when Odyssey dropped, I was one of the people that wasn't entirely happy with Odyssey Planet Tech. For various reasons. So doing a circumnavigation in Odyssey has been on my mind for a while because I want to give it a fair shot. It's very easy to sort of instantly react to the Odyssey Planet Tech and go, I don't like it, and just not play it and play in Horizons. But I wanted to give it a proper crack and sort of spend a week or 2 actually really right down there amongst the Odyssey Planet Tech, getting a feel for it. So I think it took me about, I sort of slightly lost track because I had a couple of days off. I picked a planet that was, I didn't pay enough attention to its rotational period, unfortunately. So I chose a nice smallish planet, and it was low gravity, and I sort of scouted it out, and it was close to the bubble, and it was nice and pretty. But I forgot to check its rotational period, and it had it was 5 days, I think, which meant that occasionally, although I was driving into the sunrises, so I sort of got a more frequent day-night cycle than I would going the other way. I did have extended periods of night Odyssey's night vision. It's garish, and it really highlights the Yeah. Anti-aliasing problems, and it's just horrible. So driving at night was not fun. So I tended to, once I hit night, I tended to just sort of potter around material collecting, which meant, I had 2 or 3 days of basically waiting for the sun to come back up.
Right, I see. So you use this tool in order to locate the ideal.
I did, yeah. I mean, so I have a forum thread on this, but I did a few things that were really useful. So the first one was Spanch, which I think a lot of people know. The Spanch website has the neutron plotter, which I think is what most draws most people to it. And I think I'm right in saying it has a fleet carrier plotter these days.
It's I haven't seen this tool before, so this is brand new to me.
Okay, but one of the other things that's on the Spanch website is a really good body search. So you can pick from all sorts of criteria: atmosphere, distance to Sol, its mass, its gravity, whether it's landable, atmosphere type, radius. I'm just reading down the list now. Solar masses, subtype, surface temperature, all sorts of criteria.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do, for example, what I did is I picked distance from Sol, and I basically said, don't really want to travel more than sort of, what did I put in? 500 light years or something. I want the radius to be less than 400 kilometers. I don't want to drive, I don't want to fly 10,000 light seconds to get to it. Gravity under 0.05, and then it throws up a nice list. It's terrific. And you have lots of sliders and things for all those. So what I did is nudge them all down until I ended up with, I think, 12 candidates in the results. And then another really good tool, which I've used a few times. I've actually used it for, I shouldn't really say this, it's a bit of a giveaway. I've used it for buckyball races occasionally.
Right.
Is Down to Earth Astronomy's Commander's Toolbox website has a multi-waypoint planner. So what you can do is you can bung in a whole bunch of system names and it will find you the shortest route. So basically, having found 12 planets that seemed quite nice, I bung those systems all into the Commander's Toolbox multi-waypoint planner. And it gave me a nice route that let me fly to all 12 of them without, going around in circles too much. And I spent sort of a day on each one, I suppose, maybe a little bit less, a couple of hours, just trying to find one that I really liked, because I knew, if I'm going to spend a week or so on it, you want it to look nice and be interesting and have lots of variation. And and eventually settled on the catchily named Col 359 Sector BEQ C6-0 Planet 7b.
Excellent. Now, the variation that was on this planet, it went between green hillside to icy tundra, effectively.
Yeah, it did, and there was a sort of there's a kind of band in between, but it was really, really quite stunning. I mean, the green hills and then the sort of white mountains in the background really reminded me. I've skied a fair bit in Austria in my life, and just the sense of the sort of green hills and then falling away into kind of ice and icy mountains in the distance. It's really spectacular.
Was there any life on this planet, or any biologicals, or was it just...
There was actually, yeah. I mean, in fact, all the planets that I went to, all 12 of them had... this is an interesting thing. See, all 12 of them had between 4 and 6 biosigns.
Oh, that's good.
It was great. So when I was scouting the 12 planets to decide which one to do the circumnavigation on, I kind of had a nice purpose, gathering the 4 to 6 live bioscans, and each one gave me a chance to fly around a bit, get a feel for it, take in what it was going to look like. In fact, annoyingly, I'll just sort of a side story on this, but after I'd finished my circumnavigation of the planet, and I was still sort of pootling around, I stupidly boosted my ship without shields into a mountain and blew up and went all the way back to Shinrata.
Oh, that means you would have lost all your...
Yeah, and lost all the bioscans, so I then had to go back to the planet and scan the whole lot again.
Oh, I feel your pain, because that happened to me once on my trip out to Colonia, which is still ongoing. And yeah, I lost about millions worth of scan data, and it's not good.
But yeah, so on the plus sides, it was spectacular. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Some of the things that were really striking, which I guess people don't necessarily planet to do a mission. I think a lot of people will either pick whatever mission they're given, in which case it seems like 9 times out of 10 you fly down on the dark side.
Yeah.
Or you might fly to a base or fly down to scan plants, in which case, if people are like me, you tend to pick somewhere smack bang in the middle of the where the star is directly overhead and it's really well lit.
Yeah.
But in fact, the most spectacular are the sunrises and sunsets. I was lucky to, because of the direction I was traveling, because I was heading east, I caught a few of these, and they're just spectacular. The sunrise, I'd be driving and it would be pitch black, and I'd have night vision on, and then what you'd see over the course of maybe 20 minutes is occasionally think, is it my imagination, or did that sky sort of go a deep red for a second, and then you'd look again and you'd go over another hill and it'd be black. But it really slowly builds. You get this deep red, and then you get this moment which lasts about 10 minutes maybe.
Yeah, for a sunset and a sunrise, yeah.
Yeah, just the most incredible coloration as you hit a sunrise or a sunset.
Yeah, I must admit that is one of the things that I am thoroughly enjoying in my exploration trip, is because I'm landing just on the atmospheric planets. I'm always aiming for the Terminator, so that you can when it's sunny, or watching a sunrise.
Yeah, it's well
in
worth
some
it
of these places. It's phenomenally beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. So the lighting effects in Odyssey, absolutely fantastic. I have no issue with it at all. I have to say also the kind of just the general performance issues and things to do with tiling and the general textures, that's kind of gone for me. It looks fantastic. General, I didn't particularly notice any tiling. The surface is rough. I mean, as some people will remember, when Odyssey came out, there was quite a lot of negativity from the SRV racing community, myself included, about Odyssey, and I think the bad performance had a hand in that, and I think the SRV was tweaked. But now, although it is harder than it is in Horizons, the surface is just rougher. There are just more rocks, but I don't really have an issue with that. I think we had it lucky with Horizons. It was a bit gamey, if anything, and I think Odyssey, the surface feels. If you imagine when I'm in the SRV and I'm doing, say, 60, 70, 100 meters a second, we're talking about me bouncing through the hills of Austria at 300 miles an hour. It's pretty unrealistic. So the fact
I think you end up with the Richard Hammond effect if you keep on doing that.
Yeah, so the fact I can do it at all, I kind of have no problem with it being a little bit rougher and a bit harder to get going, and occasionally you hit a rock that brings you to a crunching halt.
I mean, that I'm still finding still happens, is that all of a sudden you'll be driving along and then a rock will materialize about 10 meters in front of you and you've got no reaction time.
Yeah, that was interesting, actually. The very final day, which I think is what the video that's playing now actually was, my final 100 kilometers. That was literally after update 12 dropped. And so what I did notice was that thing of rocks appearing at the last minute was much more noticeable for me after update 12. I hadn't really run into it up till now, and then I had a few times, like this particular run that we're seeing the video of now, I had a couple of false starts where, literally a rock the size of a flipping cow would materialize right in front of me just at the very last minute.
Yeah, I normally found that would happen to me on my previous graphics card. I had
Thanks. I've upgraded to a 1650 Ti from a 1050 Ti, and the fact that I'm able to run the planetary tech on ultra and long distance. I've found I've been hitting the invisible rocks a lot less. It's like the graphics card was not able to generate them in time, but it can now.
I mean, obviously, what I'm doing here is we're traveling at 80, 90, 100 meters a second is not normal, so it's not entirely surprising that the terrain generation can't keep up.
Yeah, I mean, your ability at the fliving is, well, let's just be honest, legendary here.
Lots and lots and lots and lots of practice.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I have tried fliving, and it always ends up with a Richard Hammond moment, as I've said before. So I tend not to do it.
If people go to the forum thread, I think I saw somebody post it in chat, and I guess it'll be in the show notes. I sort of wrote a bit of a summary, after the journey was over, and my thoughts and conclusions. And I did do a second post with some tips. If people want to give this a go, there's no substitute for practice, but there are some things that you can do to make it a bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, there is one thing that you did discover, and that was what the big mountain. What did you call it? Neverest 2.
That's actually a separate thing. So after I'd finished my circumnavigation, let me get the guy's name. So there's this new catalogue which has taken over from the one that got shut down. So I think it's called Ed Astro. It's like a sort of the Galactic Exploration Catalogue, GEC.
Oh, right, okay. Now that is new to me, so that's another one to put on my list. I'm completely lose track now.
It's a new catalogue of galactic POI, and I sort of spotted that. Who was the commander's name? It was Caprica 14, Caprica XIV on Twitter, posted that he had logged a mountain he dubbed Neverest 2.
Yes, that was it, Neverest 2, yes.
Yeah, so if anyone remembers or knows sort of Neverest in Horizons, it's like the galaxy's as yet biggest known mountain. I think it's like 20 or 30 kilometers high. It was higher originally, and then FD nerfed it because its peak actually went outside the exclusion zone and meant you could drive into space.
Ah, yeah, that does sound like an outlier to me.
Yeah, it was a bit. So anyway, so yeah, this Neverest 2 is in Odyssey, and it's about 1,500 light years from Sol. So I thought after my circumnavigation, I wanted to just go and have a look. It's all right. It's no Neverest. I think it's about 9 kilometers high. The thing that annoys me, and I think this is my biggest gripe about Odyssey Planet Tech from my circumnavigation as well, is I don't really like the mountains. They're not in Horizons. When a mountain's big, it's not just like you've taken a big triangle and made it bigger, and it's still a big triangle. It gets complex. So in a Horizons mountain, you can get lost in it. As you would going up Neverest. Neverest isn't just a big Everest. Mount Everest in the real world. It's not just a big. It's not just a big triangle. You can get lost up there.
Right.
And I that was true of Horizons mountains, and even this one, this Neverest 2, it's just a big triangle, really.
Yeah, it's just that I mean, my experience has been slightly different because I have been stuck in mountain ranges where I have got lost.
Okay, I mean, that's good to hear.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like a mountain range from space, but when you get close, it's all of a sudden you find yourself thinking, well, I'm stuck in it here. Now, I'm assuming that we're going to assume that a mountain is really sort of at least 500 meters to a kilometer high. Not everyone is 9.6 kilometers high, but there have been mountain ranges where I'm between 1 kilometer and 2 kilometers up from the surface and completely lost.
Okay, well somebody else picked me up on my sort of critique of Odyssey after my circumnavigation, and they have a very valid point actually, which is that by using that Spanch site to hone down to a very particular type of planet that I want, small, low gravity.
Yeah,
I am of course limiting myself to one particular type of geology, probably because that's the way Odyssey is meant to work.
Yeah, because that is so. Normally, I've found that sort of. Normally, if you get higher gravity planets, the flatter they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's a different kind of. Yeah.
But it was great,
Yeah.
my lasting conclusion is it was absolutely great, and a lot of my reservations about Odyssey have gone. I wish the mountains were better. I felt like the only other thing that it's really interesting. It's really subtle to try and describe. But when you do something like a circumnavigation in Horizons,
Yeah.
there are long periods. It might take me sort of 2 or 3 days where there's just a flat expanse of nothing. But then you see something on the horizon, like a mountain, and it takes you another 2 hours to get there. And
Yeah.
then the mountain might take me another day to climb and get over the top of. So there's a sense of sort of anticipation, and you could look at a planet in Horizons and kind of name its features almost.
Yeah.
They're distinguishable. You could. Again, just on the limited planet that I went around here, I kind of felt like it had all sorts of terrain, but it just repeated again and again and again and again, and there wasn't a sense of a vast plain and then a mountain and then some ice, and then it was like, each day I'd do like 2 hours a day, and it would be in the green hills, into the ice, into the green hills. Next day, into the ice, into the green hills, into the ice. Next day, into the green hills, into the ice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I've been also on other planets which are basically desert planets, and you will still have those massive, long plains with mountain ranges in the distance.
Yeah.
The main problem with the desert planets, is I think it's those ones which are the only ones which I think are left where you can actually still make out repeated terrain from orbit. That's where, because it stands out so much. I think there are still planets that certain planets they need to revisit again to give it that little bit more variation.
Maybe it's the mountains, I suppose, that I generally these sort of tall, these really thin mountains that really do just like somebody's pulled a bit of cheese up out of the ground or something.
Yeah, and I know what you mean. I mean, because sometimes you end up with these really tall, sharp mountain sort of dragon teeth like ones.
Yeah, exactly. The funny thing is, if you any shape you like, if you post on the forums, somebody will come up with a photo from planet Earth in real life and go, aha, I think you'll find that those sort of mountains do actually occur. And it's like, yeah, they do, but not everywhere.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know. I'm glad that you've actually embraced it and found. Well, would you say you're pleasantly surprised by it?
Yes, yeah, I would. Yeah, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent. I know you've always had reservations about driving and stuff in Odyssey. So I'm not saying that the Odyssey planetary tech is perfect. Not by a long shot. You're certainly right about the night vision, because the night vision in Odyssey is absolutely awful. But I still feel that
there are
some
people listening to this.
I still feel that people didn't really well. It's hard to say because right at the very beginning, it did deserve a lot of the criticism. I don't think it still deserves the same amount of criticism now. That's the way I feel about it.
If you watch the video that's playing again at the moment, I mean, you would be foolish to argue that it doesn't look absolutely spectacular, I think.
Ben Psychic, you got any questions for Alec?
Nothing that I've not told him before.
Yeah, I'm enjoying you and Alec just talking. To be honest.
Fair enough then.
I was just thinking, it might have been ED Observatory that we mentioned the other day. So I'm trying to find links to it at the moment. So you got me in distraction mode, because I'm sure we talked about something for discovering other nice things.
Yes, so ED Observatory will spot when there's like a shepherd moon or something like that. So it does. It does very good at showing things that would make maybe decent stellar screenshots competitors, but it also does a lot more things now. I've re-downloaded it and it's awesome. I just need some time to actually go and do and explore. But I was looking at the Spanish thing, and that as you were talking, that is so intensive, and you can literally pop in anything and it will give you exactly what you want. So I'm very impressed by that.
Yeah, you must admit that's one of the. We'll have to put that on our list, I think, because it is quite it's extensive. I'll give it that. It's
well, I mean, we had Spanish on the list in general, but I didn't even know that this existed. This search functionality for finding a body for that thing. That's wild. I love it.
No,
it's great.
Me neither. It's brilliant.
And yet again, we're just impressed by the third-party tools that the community creates just to help other players get the best out of this game. You have to take your hats off to everyone. I mean, we'll be touching on something else like that later, I think.
And obviously, none of this would be possible without the journal. So
exactly, yeah.
Please, time a million, maintain the journal. It is awesome. We love it, and without it, we couldn't have so much.
Yeah, I know it's.
And we miss you, Howard, and we love you. Happy retirement.
Yeah, enjoy your retirement, Howard. We obviously wish you weren't, but yeah. The one thing that I really was quite impressed with was the atmospheric effects that you came across, Alec. I mean, have you managed to see any of the other atmosphere types?
I haven't, although I definitely want to do what you were suggesting, actually, which is to sort of, make a habit of flying down to Terminators now and trying to catch sunrises and sunsets. Cause,
yeah.
I mean, again, you're sort of seeing the video that's been playing over and over. You're sort of seeing a classic pale blue, sort of slightly icy blue sky most of the time, and that's what you'll see 90% of the daylight hours. But yeah, you catch these little 10, 20-minute moments where the sunrise.
The real fun, I think, the real fun that you've got in front of you, and I'm jealous because you still got to discover it. Then, is that this is just one atmosphere type. I think that.
I know what you mean. Yes, sorry. Yes, I have been to other atmosphere types with different colours.
Yeah, but then again, when you actually go to the Terminator in a carbon dioxide world and you see a green sunrise,
nice. Okay, yeah,
it's unbelievable. So I would recommend that to anybody who, if you're exploring, if you want to see the best out of it. I think. Well, thanks for that, Alec. I mean, we definitely salute you for your full-on. Your commitment to driving, I think, is the best way to.
If anyone's still waiting on me to do, the next great planetary expedition, like a sort of organised expedition around a planet, the bottom line is, and I suppose that was part of the reason for this circumnavigation, was I would still love to do it, but I'm still not convinced we've found a planet that would be worth doing it on. The one I did here, I'd be hard pushed to name 5 interesting waypoints because it's just like this repetition of interesting terrain. But if we ever find a planet, I would love to do it.
Yeah, that's the problem, is finding the exact right planet to do this on. It's like a needle in a haystack, isn't it?
Keep looking. If anyone finds anything spectacular, let me know.
Yes, the great Alec Turner Hunt. There we go. You've got to be very, very careful with that. Right. I think we'll move on to the community corner. Now, obviously, we've had these tools which we've been highlighting, which is ED Observatory and the GEC Galactic Point of Interest. We've got another one, which is the OMG, which is known as the Odyssey Map Guide. Now, it's created as a web browsing app, and it will show essential information for every Odyssey settlement in the game. Things like building types, security door levels, and of course the location of the alarm console, and pro tips and tricks at many sites. And it's uniquely written for each layout to help people complete their on-foot missions, and it's been created by Commander Quiz Engine. Now, I looked at this today, and I got lost in it, because I now know there's at least 10 settlements layouts I haven't even visited yet. Psych it.
Oh god, it's so good. It's so useful. It's so useful. As Matt was saying earlier, that he was struggling. He said in chat earlier, and that's why I posted it in chat, that he was struggling to find an entrance to get to the power building on the agricultural settlements. You can literally, it takes a hot second to load. It's not like a particularly easy site to load. If you've got a very poor internet connection, I wouldn't necessarily advise.
It can be optimized a bit better.
Yeah, but it's you can find all of the entrances that you need. It will tell you where the alarm is, where the alarms are, where you can get the power regulator from. It is so good. It is so good. They are what they have done. The work that Commander Quiz Engine has put into it has been absolutely fantastic, and I'm just so impressed with it. It's been so useful. It's increased my murder productivity by a hecton.
A hecton. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some people say, oh, that's going to take all the fun out of it. I don't think it'll take that much fun out of it, because basically it's how shall I put this? I've had I got stuck too many times, and I need help.
It makes it so much it makes it so much more fun, because you have like a little guide, which is like you just like a little indicator of where the alarms might be. So you're not going, oh man, why are they still sending people after me? For example, or if you want to do that, if you need to do covert heists to unlock Velasquez, she says very tentatively, if you're needing to do covert heists and those kind of things where the alarms don't go off, having a tool like this where you can actually, providing that when you land, you can kind of figure out as you come into land which of the sites it is. Once you've done that, it's absolutely invaluable. It definitely needs to go in every commander's bookmarks.
Yeah, I would actually agree with that, because it's one of those tools, I think, that's up there with I'm sure there was actually something similar to this, which actually had the layout of every single of the old Horizons settlement types. I think they've actually got it on Canon, and it is a godsend for when you have to do on-foot missions or on SRV missions, because without them, I wouldn't even be doing those missions. I wouldn't give them a try, because it's, I don't know, the entry level for some of them is just feels so intimidating.
Yeah, some of it is really difficult. There's another thing that's been updated. Or speaking of getting around settlements and getting the best out of settlements, there's another thing that's been updated as well, which is if you're using Odyssey Materials Helper, if you go into your settings of Odyssey Materials Helper, they now have an AR thing. And this AR thing will, when you go to a data pad and you're looking to see which data is useful and which is useless, it will color the things that are on your wish list in green, on engineer blueprint unlocks in blue, and then if it's useless, it covers it in red. So you're not like constantly looking down your list to see if you need it. You can just click, job done. That's another time saver, and I absolutely adore it. So if you're using Odyssey Materials Helper, have a look for that little AR thing that will tell you which items are useful or not, because it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I would say that is another thing that I'm going to need to look into, because again, it's the realization of how much I've got to do for the engineering grind in Odyssey that's putting me off doing it. So anything to help me sort of kickstart me in the right direction, then I'll be fine with that. So
it's definitely worth it. Well, sorry, I was going to say I was really put off by it as well initially, because it's a lot. But once you get going, you certainly feel the benefit of it. It makes killing so much easier, Colin. That's what I'm trying to say.
There we are. Our resident murderess speaks. So, onto the Mostly Clueless section. Now, I have a Mostly Clueless tip to hand out, a bit like I did last week. And it's for those of you who might be having trouble in Odyssey scanning for bacterium. Now, the trick in this one is in either your ship or your SRV, if you flip through to the composition scanner and you fly about, and this is especially helpful if you're looking for, let's say, a white bacterium on an ice planet. Then as you fly about, keep the scanner pointed at the ground, and if it ever lights up, then you've obviously just passed some bacterium, so you'll be able to back up and find it. And I must admit, without doing that, I wouldn't have been able to get half the bacterium that I had so far, because if you try and eyeball it just driving around in the SRV, it is not possible. In fact, actually, there's actually a thread on the forums at the moment where I think people were discussing the fact that Bruce said that there wasn't they hadn't got anything planned more to do with exploration, and asked for suggestions. So if you want to join that thread, we'll put that thread in the show notes, because
it's good. There's some great suggestions in there, aren't there?
Yeah, there are. And to tell you the truth, I mean, as much as I enjoy the exploration side, because it's a bit like fishing in other MMOs, a nice relaxing kind of chilled out game experience, I do wish that there was a little bit more to it, because after a while you do get bored with it. You have to take a break, and that's because it's like anything in Elite. You do something too much too often, then you do burn out on it. So I think we shall move on to any other business. Now, before we start on this one, I think we will have to put out a spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Highly recommend you skedaddle, okay?
Yeah, and just when you want to discuss something that's chill, we play that. It gives you chill. Right. Well, obviously there was a massive new space game announced over the weekend. Bethesda now gave some proper details about Starfield with an official gameplay trailer. Now we have lots of people want to talk about this. Psychic, do you want to go first?
I'm just really excited about space games. It just in general, but there were parts of Starfield that I was really I looked at it and I was really excited about. Specifically, the modular shipbuilding. I thought that was really cool. I'm going to play a metric butt ton of it, no matter how buggy it is. It looks right up my alley. I can't wait. I'm quite excited to try like a lawful good and like a chaotic playthrough as well, because it feels like it will benefit from multiple playthroughs as well. I would like to see more of the flight model, please. And see how that is. I'd love to see HOTAS compatibility. I'd be very surprised if we have anything like that. And I'd like to see somebody actually manually landing on a planet as well. That would be great. But that was my sort of like base Starfield impressions.
Okay, fair enough. Now, at this moment, then we will welcome back Commander Shan, who's able to join us for a little bit. Shan, you've saw the Starfield demo or gameplay reveal. What were your thoughts?
Yes, hello everyone. All will be explained later on if you're thinking where I've been. But yes, I mean, I was actually impressed with it. But one of the things I wanted to point out about it, and it's based on a lot of comments I've seen, is people are comparing it to Odyssey and Star Citizen and even No Man's Sky. And I think it's unfair to compare Starfield with those games simply because Starfield is a single player game and the others are multiplayer. So therefore the depth and complexity and everything they can do in Starfield is infinitely more tricky to try and do that in a multiplayer game. So I just want people to bear in mind if you're saying, oh, Odyssey's rubbish or Star Citizen's been beaten and stuff like that. Not necessarily, because Starfield is single player.
Yeah, I mean, the main point that I think really I get annoyed with is that a lot of people are saying, oh, this is going to kill off insert game here. And, as far as I'm aware, I mean, I still play No Man's Sky. Ben plays Star Citizen when he can. And, but we're still playing Elite. Just because we've played the other games doesn't mean that we stop playing Elite. Ben?
Yeah, I've always sort of said I'll play lots of games, and I always have, depends on what I want to do. But what I'm thinking about Starfield, though, is I'm more thinking about No Man's Sky rather than Elite or Star Citizen, because they're much more your space simulator kind of games, whereas this at least looks like No Man's Sky with its flight model and things like that. But what I'm most excited about, though, is, as Shan was alluding to, the fact it's a single-player game, and I love Bethesda's stories that they tell.
Yeah.
So, I love the RPG aspects of Bethesda's stuff. I probably will give it 6 months or something like that to bed in, shall we say?
Yeah, but always do that with Bethesda games.
Yeah,
I've always bought the Game of the Year edition, because by then it's got a lot of the horrible kinks straightened out.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact it's a single player game means you don't have to rush in, and you're not going to miss anything because everybody else has gone off and saved the princess or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the size of it. I love the fact that we can build our own ships. I never really gave a monkeys, and I still don't give a monkeys about building my own colonies in Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a bad feeling that we're going to be basically pick a point on a map and you'll land there. But I hope we're wrong, because it'd be nice if we can fly over the planet and things like that. Even if it is press F to land, like No Man's Sky is, I'd rather be able to fly over the surface of the planet rather than sort of take off into orbit and then say where I want to land. A bit like I could see you sort of doing with like Starship and things in real life, sort of. Your Starship's never going to take off, fly at sort of like 500 meters above the ground, and then land again. It's going to go up into orbit, round, and then down, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to. Just give it a bit of time. Biggest thing I'm looking forward to, though, and I hope that we can do this, I really hope we can do this, is a certain Mr. Lewis works for Bethesda. And, I don't want to, if we can invite, I have no issues inviting Bethesda along to talk about Starfield to either our podcasts or to LaveCon. And that sounded like a damn good excuse to catch up with Ed, and I can live with that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of people say it's going to be No Man's Skyrim, or as Ben would prefer it, No Man's Rim.
Colin!
What?
Yeah. The other thing that I really hope we get, and it's not been confirmed, is Fallout and Skyrim have been kept alive by their modding community.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, it's a single player game means it can have a modding community without buggering up anyone else's story unless they wanted to be buggered up with.
Very true. Shan, you wanted to come back there?
Yeah, a couple of things to Ben. Ben, I think you should admit why you like the modding community for those games is because they produce nude mods.
I'm right. If it's nothing more annoying than you going off and taking a shower and finding out you're wearing your bra and underwear. I mean, nobody does that.
But being serious for a minute, a lot's been made of the 1,000 explorable planets.
Yeah.
And people, as I say, have been comparing, there's only 1,000 or 1,000, wow, how on earth are you going to do it? The key for the game is how dense the content is in each planet and how free-form the landing is. Because if you go through Skyrim world, the settlements and stuff are actually pretty close together, and the content is very, very dense. So that remains to be seen. Is that does it mimic that density of content? And I think that will be a key thing.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see because there's supposed to be 100 properly crafted worlds, which ironically was what Star Citizen was saying that they were going to start with, and then what was it, 1,000, another 900 other worlds which will be procedurally generated. Or are they going to be handcrafted as well? But obviously not.
I don't think we know that. Looking at the footage, I assumed they were handcrafted.
Yeah. Right. Well,
can I just one other thing with it that I saw in the video, and I think I'm right, but I might not be. Wasn't me, but did that video look like it had the Mars Pathfinder probe or rover on it? And we know that Sol is in there. We saw in their galaxy map Sol being mentioned. So if we can go to Mars and see Pathfinder, that's amazing in its own right.
Yeah. Well, it's something to look forward to. It's always nice to see a new space game on there, and personally, I am really hoping that they're going to have OTA support because, for me, as long as the flight model is good enough, then I will be playing it. We'll wait and see, and we'll look forward to see what happens. Okay, quickly, Shan.
On the control methods, if it's out on console and if it takes the console version, if it's actually out on console and I think HOTAS will be a step too far for it. I would expect it to mimic a console controllers and layout, just in the same way as Skyrim did.
Right. Well, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, yeah, you're probably right, but you can live in hope. Right. Psychit, you have something about Flight Assist Pride.
I was going to talk about the other amazing looking games in the Steam Next Fest that's coming up as well. I mean, I can do both. Why not?
Yes.
The Steam Next Fest has just started, or it's just been like over the last I believe it's just started, or it's been it's a couple of days old. It's 7 weeks of demos. Last time I checked, and I went and I looked for space games, and I think there were about 50 different space games on there. Some of them look really interesting. It's worth having a look and giving it a go. That'd be nice. Also, yeah, I'm doing some charity streams for Pride. And some of the Flight Assists, so anyone who wants to partake in doing some charity streams for Pride can do. It's in conjunction with the Flight Assist Pride team that we're doing it for. That's the thing. Thanks.
Excellent.
Come and join our Discord.
Excellent. And of course, you stream quite often. So
like once or twice. It is my full-time job.
I know. I'm trying to big you up a bit here, you know.
That's what I do. Got it.
Exactly. Right. Well, we'll move on from there. Oh, Alec, you said you had a couple of any other businesses as well.
Two quick things that I just wanted to shout out. One was I saw somebody asking in chat about on-foot circumnavigations and will anybody ever do it? It's actually been done twice. Just wanted to shout these guys out because it's a ludicrous achievement and I don't think they get enough attention for it. Back in March last year, Alec's fighter managed to walk around a 189-kilometer radius planet. So that was 1,200 kilometers, which took him 76 hours. And just last week, Frank Dolas walked around a moon basically the same size as the one I've just driven around. So it was 2,300 kilometers and it took him 105 hours. So people call me a nutter, but I think that's a whole other level. And the other thing I did just want to shout out, which Psychic will be very excited about, is I've literally, while you were all talking, just seen in the Buckyball Racing Club thread that the new race is definitely confirmed to start
Friday.
Starting Friday,
Yeah.
and it sounds like the forum thread is going to be up in the next couple of hours, if it's not already up by now. So
excellent. Buckyball. Hashtag 1 Point Club.
1 Point Club for all the cool kids in Colin. It's canon.
Yeah, well, I may be cool, but I'm definitely not a kid, so you know that's the way.
Did you just say for the cool kids and Colin?
Yep, that's what Katie said. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just I'm just using Katie's
You're
words.
just airing Katie's opinions.
As we know, that's what Katie says is hashtag canon.
Yeah, can I just? What the heck have I done to Katie to deserve that? Eh?
I don't know. I think it's probably because she thinks you're a massive nerd, Colin.
Well, I am. How long have we been doing this podcast? About one single game? Jesus, that's not nerd. I don't know what is. How long have we all been doing this podcast? Oh, let's move on. Right. Yeah, Alec.
Colin, you could be doing a stream about it on a daily basis.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Right. That was your two things, wasn't it?
That was my two things.
Yeah, right, that's fine. Right, I think it's time for the shout-outs. For those of you who have been following the show from 8 o'clock onwards, you'll know that the Dex Legacy is playing before our main show starts. Episode 5 of the Dex Legacy, Interlude 2, A Mind of Our Own, will premiere next week on the 21st of the 6th at 8 o'clock. More information can be found at the thedexlegacy.com for those people who have been enjoying it. Our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. Tune in at twitch.tv Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, then go to radio.forthemug.com. The Descending Commander that likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. Right, giving shout outs to the following podcasts. We've got Alagrab AM, Canon Podcast, the Elite Cast for Spanish speakers. There's the Fatherhood Podcast, Flight Assist. Who have we got with Flight Assist this week?
It's still Phoenix Blue.
Oh, still Phoenix Blue from. Oh, right, okay. The Guard Frequency, I think they've got a new one out today, but we'll just have to wait and see. Of course, the fantastic Loose Screws and Squeaking Fuel are still about, and there's also the Data Slate podcast, which Station Commander Alan Stroud puts out when he's actually got time to do it. Following this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest, as provided by the most excellent Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And of course, we'll just thank everybody who's chipped in the Twitch chat. Thank you very much. And Chris Mark 4, who have we had around here? We've had Miggles, Cyber Hunter, Nopa Threus. Oh, God. I am so sorry. Everyone take a drink, because I've got that one wrong again.
I'm out of gin, Colin. I finished it.
We'll start another one then. And we'll say special thanks to Commander Tokuso, Jay and Trax, and Alice Stroud, who have all created music for the show. So that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email info@laveradio.com, hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at Lave Radio, or you can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat, which you can find that at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Now do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. I should also point out that we've got our own Lave Radio Discord. We never mention the Discord server, do we? I'm putting that in the show notes for next week.
Oh, discord.io/Lave Radio, I think it is.
Yes.
I thought you mentioned it right at the beginning.
You know what? I'm having senior moments all the time. I'm really getting worried. Right, Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So thanks to Alec for driving around a planet. Thanks to Ben for managing to turn up without a motherboard. Unfortunately. Thanks to Psychit for all the sick burns, and thanks to Shan for just quickly popping in. And of course, a special thanks goes to today's Commander Ventura, who has been the tech specialist for today. So until next time, Commanders, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. Need a safe word. Space can be done. I'm going to see the galaxy.
Right. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Digest, 14th of June 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, Salvation maintains a communications blackout in the face of serious allegations. The Alliance prepares to start bribing councillors over the Sirius contract. Professor Palin is building up a huge pile of Thargoid sensors. There are 2 Koi collisions this week. And we discover that 2 commanders have actually walked all the way around a moon without an SRV.
If you've been accused of murdering the 4,000 crew members of the megaship Alexandria, if you've been accused of conducting unethical experiments involving humans and aliens, if you've been accused of luring Thargoids to the Cornsar system, leading to an attack that cost the lives of tens of thousands of people living on attacked starports, if you've been accused, in fact, of being a supervillain, you'd probably want to give your side of the story. But Salvation remains completely silent and has said absolutely nothing to rebut these extremely serious allegations. Is this a tacit admission of guilt? Meanwhile, the 3 superpowers have been rather awkwardly trying to justify their continuing reliance on Salvation for their protection from the Thargoids. Admiral Rachel Ziegler pointed out that with no guarantee Sirius Navy will continue to provide protection to the Alliance Defence Force has little option but to stick with Salvation despite the accusations against him. Senator Denton Petraeus is clear that the Empire has nothing in its arsenal that comes close to what Salvation's superweapon can achieve, and that defeating the Thargoids must be the priority, regardless of the means. While the majority of federal voices have refused to be drawn into the controversy, Fleet Admiral Teo Maikori, who has been reviewing Ramtar's evidence about Salvation's superweapon, says he now intends to extend his investigation to the recently discovered information that links Salvation to INRA and to azimuth biochemicals. For now, the superpowers seem content to continue supplying troops to Salvation and funding the development of his potentially unethical superweapon.
As Admiral Ziegler said, there seems to be little consensus in the Alliance about the contract with the Sirius Corporation to supply anti-Xeno protection. Following the Riort Mining Coalition's failed attempt to leave the Alliance rather than have a Sirius Navy megaship parked up in the system, the Prime Minister has only managed to gain enough support for the arrangement by running a 3-month trial. With that trial now over, MAN now needs to win a vote in the Alliance Assembly to make the arrangement permanent. The possibility of expanding the Alliance and the relative freedom from Salvation's dubious activities that the defence contract would bring must surely count in the Prime Minister's favour, despite the groundswell of unrest that is felt, particularly in the Alliance Old Worlds. With Councillor Nakato Kane arguing vociferously that all the Sirius Corporation managed to achieve during the trial was a rather half-hearted humanitarian relief convoy for the Thargoid-attacked station in the Didio system, which is hardly a ringing endorsement of the corporation's anti-Thargoid capability, and with the Alliance Assembly seemingly finely balanced on whether to vote through the defence contract, it seems almost inevitable that both the pro- and anti-Sirius factions will resort to buying votes by one means or another. Commanders who wish to influence the Assembly's decision are advised to remain vigilant for appeals from the 2 Alliance interest groups.
Professor Ishmael Palin's appeal for various squishy bits of Thargoid to allow him to research Thargoid technology is going well, with all but the final stretch goal already achieved. commanders were asked to supply as many samples of Thargoid sensors and probes as they could find, along with any Thargoid resin that might happen to be lying around. All of these items are corrosive, and the use of corrosion-resistant cargo racks while transporting them is strongly advised. It is convenient that the Professor made larger-sized corrosion-resistant cargo racks available to those who helped with the first part of his appeal. And he has offered more goodies this time too, with a selection of heavy-duty hull reinforcement packages as rewards for the most helpful contributors. Quite why Palin thinks hull reinforcements are important remains to be seen. Perhaps it's an indication of the next task he has in store for us. Perhaps he's finally just getting round to requesting those tissue samples he was thinking about a couple of months back.
Canon research has found another pair of colliding gas giants. Back in the 21st century, the Kepler Space Telescope found a number of exoplanets by detecting a short dip in the radiation arriving from distant stars, caused by a planet transiting in front of the star. These are the Koi systems. Like rhubarb and custard in Koi 413, the two new colliding planets in Koi 232 are pink and yellow. However, these two planets, Koi 232-2 and 3, achieve a dead-on collision once every 29.5 days. Commander LCU No Fool Like One, whose orbital analysis has identified a number of potential collision candidates, is planning to name these new planets after prunes, on the grounds that they're so regular. Those who arrived in the system on board one of the two visiting fleet carriers witnessed a spectacular yet entirely non-destructive collision. The Canon research vessel Flower of Agatia will shortly be departing Koi 232 for Koi 413 to see rhubarb and custard collide at 1643 Galactic Standard Time on the 16th of June.
The conclusion of Commander Alec Turner's circumnavigation in a Scarab SRV of planet Col 359 sector BE-Q C6-O 7B last week seems a little less of an amazing feat this week, after we discovered that Commander Frank Dolas has become the second commander to walk round a planet since it became possible last year. The first commander to achieve an on-foot circumnavigation was Commander Alec's fighter, who walked, or rather bounded, round the 1,206 kilometre circumference of the tiny 0.02G moon Struelo OJ-EC26-45-3CA in not much more than 3 days in May last year. Commander Frank Dolas' journey, which concluded on the 2nd of June, was on the comparatively larger moon HIP 88155 AB2b, which has a massive 0.04G gravity and a circumference of 2,331 kilometres. He recorded every bounce he took over the 105 hours of travelling over an elapsed 19 days. It's gripping viewing. We really do recommend watching it the whole way through whilst you're doing a less interesting task, such as watching paint dry. As a bit of audience participation, you might like to try saying boing every time the commander bounces. Or perhaps not.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.
Boing, 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 boing.
If you're enjoying the Dex Legacy on Lave Radio, please visit our website at www.thedexlegacy.com, where you can find out all about our cast, buy merch, support the show, and access bonus materials.